So, the Oblivion Remake that I made a video about before Christmas seems like the leaks and rumors point to it being more true than ever now. Seems like we've gotten some more details about the remake from someone named MP First. I'm not sure if that's a journalistic entity or if that's just someone's username handle. I think it's just probably their username handle. But they have leaked some more information about the game. So it seems like there's more pointing to the possibility that this is real and it is an actual game coming out. And because my channel is mostly Oblivion content right now, I thought it makes perfect sense for me to go over it. And so some of the details that MP First has come out with just seems to confirm what some of the things we already know, which is that Virtuoso is making the remake of the game, and also that they are doing it in Unreal Engine 5. But also, the more important detail is confirming that this is a full-on remake rather than a remaster, which I'm really happy about because a remaster to me really doesn't do a whole lot for me anyway. For me, the charm of Oblivion is the characters being so weird looking, and so I'm more interested in a revamped, modernized version of Oblivion that sort of does its own artistic take on it all, and that we can still have our sort of silly, funny old Oblivion, and then we can have kind of a more serious, more modernized new Oblivion. And so also it looks like MP First has also leaked some more details about the changes to the game, and I thought in this video we could go over the specific details of the changes to this remake and give my opinion on it and what I would like to see in these changes. But before doing so, it would mean a lot if you would like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. So, from MP First, some of the leaks and details about the game that are being released, and specifically the gameplay that is going to be changed. It looks like there's going to be tweaks to stamina, which I'm a little peeved that they're calling it stamina. Makes me kind of think that maybe this is all fake, that this is all just wild speculation and someone's just totally talking out of their ass, because anyone who knows Oblivion, it's not stamina, it's fatigue. But whatever. But apparently they're making tweaks to stamina, which I think is fine. I think there's definitely room for that. It seemed a little too close to Magicka in this game, I would say. They could probably figure out a better way of doing it. And it also seems like there is a tweaking to sneak. The specific tweak to sneak is going to be icons that are allegedly highlighted. Once again, this is sort of another leak or rumor detail that makes me think that this is bullshit, because once again, I don't think that they're, like, what would you call a sneak icon in Oblivion other than your little eye that you have when you start sneaking? Like, that seems a little weird. I guess it's something that they're just totally making whole cloth new, and that every single NPC that you're sneaking around, their awareness icon shows up rather than just having the eyeball in your crosshair show up. So I guess that makes some sense, in the sense that, like, that does update the game significantly. You can sort of see all the NPCs and how much they are noticing you, which I think could be an interesting update to the game. But also, I am a little skittish about the fact that they are sort of talking about it like it's something that we know in the game, and there isn't any sneak icons really in the game. So it kind of makes me think that maybe the person just making up these rumors doesn't know what the game actually is, but whatever. And it seems like there's also going to be an update to the blocking system. And this is something that I think I mentioned about in my first video about this Oblivion remake, is that, yeah, the blocking in combat in Oblivion is fine. It works perfectly well. But there is a lack of complexity that sort of eventually does get boring. You know, you learn the rhythm pretty quickly of, you know, dodge in, dodge out, shield, swing your sword. There is no huge disadvantage to just spamming the mouse and just swinging the swordless constantly. I mean, yeah, you can get hit, but also you're hitting them quite well, so like, the downside is pretty minimal. That's how a lot of people, I think, played when it first came out, was a spell sword, where you're just spamming spells and then just hitting them with your sword as much as humanly possible. So I think that is something that is important that they are revamping. Specifically in the blocking department, it seems like they are from the details, it seems like they're going to do something closer to a Souls-like game, which I'm interested to see, because something like parrying and only being able to block for a certain amount of time, or having to make it more timing based, could be something that's more interesting, and could be something that is more intriguing and fun to play. I just hope it doesn't go full Souls-like. I mean, obviously, that would be a huge departure, in my opinion, if they really do try and take a lot of influence from the Souls games and put it into Oblivion, because that is an area of Oblivion that, once again, I would say is rather weak, is the boss battle combat. Bosses are more or less just souped up NPCs and just sort of this general RPG system that they have in the game. And it would be interesting to see, like, how could they make, I don't know, fighting Mankar Cameron or fighting Manamarco or some other, or Minotaur or some other boss creature, something like that, making it more immersive, more interesting, more distinct, rather than just having it be similar to any NPC you'll run into in the game. Because running into a random NPC is actually truly a really fun experience in Oblivion, but the enjoyment of fighting a boss in Oblivion is not as fun as compared to something like a boss from like Elden Ring or Dark Souls, where it's like a unique experience, a unique fight that you have to learn and fight and do well with. Which hopefully they're able to balance that, because I don't think people that play Elder Scrolls or just regular American RPGs are really ready for a game where it's as brutal as Dark Souls or Elden Ring, where you die so much. And if that's the case, then I think they probably need to make sure that people go into the game with that expectation that, hey, you're probably going to die a lot playing this game, because I think most people playing a lot of classic American-styled RPG games, they don't really think that they're going to die very often. At least that's sort of the expectation of the players that play a lot, is that they're not expecting to die a lot. And they might die a fair amount if this is like a Souls-like game, basically, in terms of combat. And telling people to make sure to save often, because you will be dying. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, that sounds really fun to me. I don't know how much the casual player will like it, but as someone who hardcore plays Oblivion and makes videos about Oblivion, that sounds amazing to me, and I would love to have that happen. And it seems like hit reaction is also going to be an important part of the game. So, making timing as well with the blocking and the stamina system and the staggering system, all stuff that I think I mentioned in my previous video that they really should update. Seems like that's really ripe for some improvements, and taking some notes from the Souls games sounds like a pretty cool idea to me. The next thing it seems like they're overhauling is the Archery, which I hope that they kind of come up with something new and interesting for the Archery, something that we haven't even seen before. Because, I mean, I think at this point, if they were going to just mimic the Archery from Skyrim, that would be pretty disappointing. Because Skyrim is, you know, almost 14 years old. It's like 13 or 12 years old at this point. There definitely could be a better system involved, but I'm just not 100% sure on how they would all balance that all out, because, like, I think that part of that would have to be, well, you can't just spam arrows like you can in Oblivion or Skyrim, but then how does that relate to the other systems of magic and fighting? And I mean, that might make sense if you just, it sounds like what they're doing with the swords and blocking is you can't just spam block, you can't just spam swinging your sword, so you just can't spam your arrows. And so that level of speed, slowing it down, making it more distinct, more intentional, and if you mess up your intentions, then you mess up your battle, basically. And that just means, in my opinion, that we're also probably going to see a slowing down of the magic system in the game as well. You're not going to be able to just spam fireballs, because that obviously will not translate to fighting with a sword or archery, having to be more realistic, having to draw the bow or swing the sword or block, and having to make that all timing specific and making it fluid and making it work correctly. Something tells me if you want to cast a spell, it's going to be a much bigger process. You're probably going to have to wind up, something similar to like the higher level spells in Skyrim, but probably for all spells you're going to have to do some sort of wind up And they probably, if I had to guess, and I'm not opposed to this, but I know that this is something that people that play Oblivion really love about the game, is that you can have weapons equipped and then cast a spell. And if I had to guess, they're probably going to get rid of that. It sounds like if they're making everything way more intentional and way more timing focused, then they're going to have to make casting spells its own thing and making it as slow as Elden Ring swinging a giant sword or shooting some arrows in a more realistic fashion. And then finally, the one thing that I'm a little leery about is it seems like there is going to be an update to the HUD. And they can update the icons and stuff that you see while you're playing the game. That's fine with me. And I know that everything is going to get updated, but I really hope that they don't change the artistic style of the HUD. Like, I'm fine if they want to make it more complicated, because I think the Oblivion HUD is a little too simplified. The fact that it's just a cursor that you have to move around and hit things. Like, if they put some shortcuts in there, that would be great. But I think the thing that they can't get rid of is the style of making it seem like you're flipping through a journal. I think that that's something that they got rid of in Skyrim, and I think really takes away from the experience of Skyrim for me, is that feeling of you're flipping through the pages of your journal as an adventurer in Tamriel. Like, that's the feeling that you get when you're playing Oblivion or playing Morrowind or Daggerfall or Arena. That makes it really fun to me, is that it makes it that immersive feeling, whereas Skyrim's aesthetic UI is far more of just like a tech game basically, or a tech menu basically. And so that, to me, if they get rid of the journal opening aspect of the HUD, I'm going to be really disappointed in that. And I really hope that they revamp that. I think it's fine if they revamp it and make it work better, make it more streamlined, that's all fine. But they really need to keep the aesthetic of opening up some pages and making it feel like you're flipping through the pages of your journal as you're playing the game, basically. And so now that it seems like I'm probably going to make another video after this once it's fully confirmed that they're remaking Oblivion. But I would like to hear from you guys again. We can have another conversation about what do we want to see in Oblivion. I personally, the one thing that they didn't talk about in this leak, but I hope they do address, is the dungeons of Oblivion are somewhat repetitive. And so I really hope that they take a more fine-tuned, detailed approach to rebuilding all of the dungeons and the different encounters in all those dungeons. I think that would be a huge facelift for the game and would make it way more fun. But what other things would you like to see in this remake? It seems like we're getting one, and so I'm super excited for that. But what do you want to see? Do you want to see things completely revamped, or do you want it to sort of go back, still be true to the original Oblivion games? And thanks for watching the video, and if it would mean a lot if you'd like the video and subscribe to the channel and consider becoming a channel member. It goes a long way to helping me make more of this content. Thank you.